What's going on, guys? It's the Money Talk Show with Dane, where we talk about all sorts of interesting topics having to do with money, primarily real estate and crypto here. That's what we do. So we're pumped to have you along. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel if those are topics that are interesting to you. Also, me and Corey are building just a nuts community where our intention is to be a bridge between entrepreneurs and real estate investors and crypto. We've been able to do pretty well in both areas, and we're on a mission to help people grasp it and get a hold of kind of all of it. A lot of crypto guys want to be involved in real estate to offset taxes. A lot of real estate guys want to be in crypto for the gains. And there's a unique balance that could be had there. So we welcome you to the show. We've got some salty stuff to talk about today. I'll try not to get too salty, but it'll be fun. Corey, take it away.
Yeah, man. Well, Corey Gary, the YouTube channel is Crypto Millionaires with Corey Gary. Most people know me from the real estate space. Like I said, I've done really well in the real estate space. Also, and kind of transitioning more into the crypto side of things because I see massive opportunity, and especially we're just kind of lined up at the right place, right time right now. It's just amazing. 2023 just gives me goosebumps because of the opportunity so tremendous. And I would love to take 500, of my closest real estate buddies, entrepreneurs, whoever wants to ride this crypto train with us, along with the ride with us, man. And that's kind of the vision that I have with this YouTube and our group and everything else we're doing, man. I just want to, it's not fun getting rich alone. So I want to get rich with a bunch of friends. And that's that's kind of the idea behind all this. So yeah.
Absolutely. We do a bi-weekly call with our group. We did one last night, and I tell you, I love seeing the wheels turning and the ideas starting to click in a lot of our guys' heads. They're starting to get it, understand crypto, why it's important, and how to get involved, how to utilize the blockchain. And it's gonna be a nuts couple of years as the market turns back around and we have some opportunities. It's going to be nuts. So
it's going to be,
if
man.
You guys. Yeah, if you guys watching this show want to jump in or talk to us about what that might look like, we'd love to talk to you about it. If it's a fit, great. If not, no pressure from us. We're looking to build with the right people. So it should be fun.
Absolutely. And you can always watch our YouTube, man. We're always going to be dropping plenty of alpha right here and hopefully having, guests on who have plenty of alpha, which we have already had. So it's just going to be so much fun.
Absolutely. To that point, we are going on Hex Ray Visions YouTube channel today. That'll be a lot of fun where we're going to talk more real estate and crypto. We had him on a few days ago, and we're going to continue that conversation over on his channel. So come and check that out later today. That's at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it'll be a lot of fun. We got our first comment here. Is Jeremy your brother, Corey?
He is, man.
Okay,
yep.
Cool.
One half of the Crypto Brothers. And he got that name because of Randy Hilarski, because we're always both in there commenting off of Randy's YouTube. And Randy got it. Oh, this is one half of the Crypto Brothers.
So. Love it. What's up, Jeremy? Glad you're on, man. This is fun to have you guys on. For those of you that are jumping into the show, go ahead and comment. We'd love to have your help with the algorithm. Comment where you're from. We'd love to know who is able to jump on with us at this time. I know a lot of people are just getting to work here in the States. We've got people from all sorts of other countries that have jumped on the show. So comment below with where you're from, and that'll help us out with the algorithm.
Absolutely. Smash the likes.
Yes. We appreciate all your guys' help. So I have been, Corey and I have both been on crypto Twitter for a number of months now, over a year at this point, and been trying to ingratiate ourselves into the communities to be able to get the right information, because in the end of the day, whether it be real estate or crypto or anything else for that matter, it's important to get the truth. And it's important to develop and determine a strategy that works for you. And I can't say how important that is. There's gurus everywhere in crypto and real estate that will tell you that one specific strategy is the best thing to do or the best train of thinking to follow. And the fact of the matter is even though that may work for one person, that may not be the right strategy for you, depending upon a lot of different factors. And so as Corey and I have been digging into crypto more heavily over the last couple of years, Twitter has been an excellent resource for information where we can go and try to find out the truth, try to develop a strategy that works for both of us. Corey and I are very similar in how we approach crypto, but also our portfolios are a little bit different too, just depending upon things that we may like or dislike a little bit differently. And that's the beauty of it, is you can build something that you're pleased with and that you're happy with as far as a crypto portfolio is concerned. And I took a step back last night. In fact, I was watching Randy Hilarski's show. If you guys don't watch Randy, you should watch Randy. Randy's excellent. But we were watching Randy's show last night, and he was talking about how toxic it could be on crypto Twitter. And I was arguing with some guy on Twitter last night, and I was like, dang, this is such a waste of energy. And
I didn't see that. I need to go back and look.
Yeah, right. And these guys will propagate these things that just aren't true. They just aren't accurate. And I'll give you an example. So we've talked about this on previous shows, but we got pulled into one of the narratives with Hex near the top, where a lot of these streamers and these influencers were saying, oh, well, it's just math, Hex to the moon, it's just math. And they were pretty much propagating this idea that it would only go up forever. Now, to Richard's credit, Richard Hart, who's the founder of Hex, he's never said that. He's been very frank that, 90% dips are part of the crypto game. But a lot of these other guys were saying, oh, stake forever for 15 years. And it's just math. We're just going to keep going up. And none of that was true. None of that was true. We're down, 95% on Hex right now, which I think personally is a huge opportunity. So I'm excited about these buying prices. But I have been very conscious about my approach to specifically crypto Twitter and who I follow, who I glean information from, and how I go about determining what's true and what's not, and how that affects my investment thesis and strategy for myself when it comes to crypto. And so, for instance, an example of one of the things that Corey and I have come to grow to believe, and by all means, feel free to comment if there's a piece of humble pie that I need to eat. I'm more than happy to eat it if I'm proven wrong. There is no ego in what we do as far as crypto and real estate and investing. I'm interested in the gains. That's what I'm here for. That's why Corey's here. I care less about eating a humble pie if it means that we make better gains. So one of the narratives is to go and stake out forever. In fact, we talked a little bit about this with Hex Ray Vision, but you buy Hex and you stake it out for 15 years. And the reason that well, I'll start with myself and then you can add to this, Corey. But the reason that I just don't think that this is the best strategy for most people, if you're willing to pay attention, is because the yield that you'll get in Hex will not offset a 90 to a 95% dip that generally happens every 4 years in crypto. Crypto generally works on a 4-year cycle. And so everyone says, oh, you go get your T-shares and you stake out forever and you're earning interest. Well, that's great. That's great. You're freaking earning interest. But I would much rather buy 10x the number of T-shares, even if the T-share rates changed a little bit. For those of you that are less familiar with the T-share, if I lost you, don't worry about it. Essentially, the T-share rate determines how much interest you earn from staking Hex. But I would much rather have 10x the T-shares at maybe a little bit different rate than I would buying, at a far greater price and having less T-shares for my dollars. And so there is no, Hex will not generate enough interest to offset a 90% dip. And so for me, I think it makes a whole lot more sense to create Hex stakes that will come due and expire, where I can, or not expire, but be finished, if you will, that I can go and take profits at or near the next cycle top, the next crypto cycle top, which if history repeats itself, we should be, somewhere late 2025. That's subject to change, but that's a really good rough idea of how I'm approaching Hex today. What are your thoughts on that, Corey?
Man, you've kind of nailed it 100%. The thing is, you got to be careful with crypto, and especially with Twitter. This is where narratives are being sold at, and people are going to sell you on a narrative because it benefits their bag. You got to remember that everyone's on there trying to make gains and benefit their bag, and so when they're trying to sell you on a narrative, whether it's correct or not, it benefits them. And so the whole community, look, I love the Hex community, but one of
Yes.
the biggest problems is that they try to sell everybody on the narrative to stake 5555, and that you, to be part of the cool club, you have to be part of the, the 555 staker class. Well, the problem is, one, cryptocurrency hasn't even been around for 15 years yet. It's been around, what is it? I think Bitcoin just had its 13th birthday just like a month ago or whatever. So crypto hasn't even been around for 15 years. So we don't know what the landscape of crypto is going to look like in 15 years. It's impossible to envision that. Okay, so that's one. For two, I mean, like, even businesses don't last for 15 years. A lot of them go out of business. So there, you have new innovative technology happening that's coming up that could. I love Hex, and I hope it is around in 15 years, but something better could come along. I mean, that is a true fact of life. And maybe if Richard Hart creates something better, I don't know, but we just don't know. 15 years too far out. So you have, like, in your portfolio, you should have like how risky you're going to be with some of your stuff, and then have more conservative stuff in your portfolio. Like, for example, like buying a brand new token that just came on the market, that just got invented, versus buying Ethereum or Bitcoin. Bitcoin's obviously the most conservative route, but you're not going to have the upside gains. Well, it's the same when you're trying to think about when you're staking out, because if you're staking out 15 years, you're putting the most risk on your portfolio for that money you're staking out 15 years. Does that make sense? You know for sure that crypto's going to be around in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. I'm almost certain of that. I'm just almost certain Hex will be around in 3, 2, or 1, and that's when the next market top is going to be. But 15 years, no clue, right? But if everyone locked up their crypto for 15 years, the guys who are not locking up their crypto for 15 years would benefit from that. Because what some of these influencers aren't telling you is that they don't have 5555 stakes, but they're selling the narrative. And some of them have been caught doing this from other community members. It's crazy. So just be careful with that. It makes 100% sense to stake out for the next market cycle. So obviously we have a good, 2 years minimum before the bull run, maybe even 2.5, 3 before the top. And so it really makes sense to me to stake out to the next bull run. That way you are earning some of that interest. You're earning that juicy yield, because, man, T-shares do print more Hex. And why wouldn't you want to get more Hex? If you're holding your Hex, why not print more Hex in the process? Unless you're playing a short game, like a buy the rumor, sell the news type event for like the V3 launch or even Pulse Chain launching. Okay, maybe not stake your Hex in, but that'd be the only reason why, in my brain, why I would stake it for, a next market cycle, right? I just did a market cycle stake every day. I've been DCAing all these lows for the last month, and I built up a nice little bag, and I put it out to the end of 2024. And I'm like, man, that's perfect. It's going to come out. I can kind of see where the market's at that time, and be like, okay, do I want to punt it out another 6 months, maybe another year at that point, which I can, or do I want to take some profit at that given time? So, you want to have optionalities. We can't gauge where bottoms or tops are at. So we need to be very careful how we do our staking strategy. A lot of people are like, oh, we'll build a staking ladder. That way you have some come out over time. Why not build a market cycle staking ladder where you put a stake out at the beginning of 2026, 6 months earlier you put another stake, 6 months earlier you put another stake, all the way to like maybe the middle of 2024, and that way when the bull market supposedly is coming around, you have a nice chunk of Hex coming out every 6 months during the bull market cycle. I like that idea for a staking ladder, not
Right.
15 years out. And because if you think about it, you take all that Hex, you sell it plus your principal, you get all those gains, you wait for the cycle. We know it's going to come. Bulls and bear markets come. Historically, they've always been around, and they're always going to happen. Like, I don't care now that they might they might not be as aggressive, where you have 96% diffs and these massive in the future when you get more adoption. That might even out a little bit, but no matter what, there's always bull and bear market cycles. And if you sell at the bull, we know that we don't have to be perfect on our timing. We can just be in the area. And I promise you, if you're just within the year of it, and then you buy back your position within a year to year and a half after the market top, and it doesn't have to be perfect, I guarantee you'll accumulate way more coins. And it'll be fun to do to break it down on an Excel spreadsheet. You would accumulate just a massive amount more coins than just staking it out for 15 years and earning that yield.
Way more.
So
we'll have to do a show where we put the math behind it. I put the math behind it once, and that was useful. I'll do that.
When we put the math on an Excel sheet, yeah, we could do that. And it wouldn't be too hard to kind of calculate and figure that out. And the first person who really pointed it out to me, I like this guy because he's a Hexican, but he's definitely not a maxi, is B Roots. B Roots loves playing cycles. He loves playing shit coins. It's his thing, but he does Hex too. And he's the kind of the first one that pointed that out to me. And I was like, he's on to something there. Like, why not just play the cycles? You don't got to be a trader. Obviously you are trading in and out a little bit, but you have to trade in and out if you want to experience gains. You're trading for USDC at some point in time in your cryptocurrency journey. So no matter what, you're going to be a trader. This is what it is. We're just not being day traders or swing traders. Be a market cycle trader, because these are predictable. This is what Warren Buffett's been doing in the stock market his whole entire life. Buy low, sell high. That's all he does, period. He doesn't make it overly complicated. He doesn't day trade. He doesn't swing trade. He just buys when there's fear and he sells when there's greed. That's it. He knows how to control his emotions, which there is a control of emotions that you're going to have to learn to master when you get involved in this asset class, because it is so volatile. For me, it's been fun to learn how to control those emotions. It's knowing oneself. It's been an amazing journey in just that aspect. But that is my sentiment on the whole narrative. Be careful with narratives. Every community has their own narrative. And I like following, maxis. There's nothing wrong with that, because you want to hear the positive narrative sentiment that everyone's trying to preach to pump their bags. But I also like hearing the opposite side too. And in fact, I've even joined a Twitter group, and it's a private group. It's not Twitter, it's on Telegram. It's a private Telegram chat where you have to get a personal invite to. And I joined this, and it's a bunch of RH. They sacrifice for Pulse Chain and Pulse X, but they are the opposite of maxis. They hate RH. They despise him and everything he does, and with his outraged marketing and the way he, just the way he presents himself. And then they just talk trash about him all day long, and why Hex is not going to work because of the OA and all this stuff. But I like hearing and seeing that, because I want to stay educated. I want to stay as a realist. Now, I don't believe either narratives are going to be accurate 100%. It probably lies somewhere in the middle, like everything in life. And so I just want to make sure I'm not blinded either way, if that makes sense. So I want to make sure I'm hearing, commentary or, if you will, from all sides, all angles, and not be a maxi. Because once you're a maxi, you're going to miss opportunity in the marketplace, because you are a maxi and you're only focusing on one little coin, if you will, or maybe even a couple coins. You will miss opportunity then. So you got to be careful on how you navigate yourself in this space. And so I will kind of run on a rant there, but that's definitely my 2 cents on this.
No, that was great. Those of you that are on the show right now, we love your feedback. Are you staking and excited for 15-year Hex stakes, or are you more thinking market cycle stakes with us? We'd love your feedback in there. Post them in the comments. Here is another narrative. I'll give you an example of another that was a complete lie, and this guy was exposed. There's a big whale in the community. I won't say his name, but if you're around, you'll know who this is. But when Hex was I think it was at 10 or 20 cents. And he was like, oh, like we're going to come in and we're going to put in, I think he said like $100 million hex buy. We're going to go and buy $100 million of hex, get in before like you get left behind. And I'm sitting there reading this and I'm like, oh, initially me being dumb, I thought, oh, it's so nice of him to like let us know to get in before he goes and pumps the price. But then I took a step back and I'm like, but why would he say that? That doesn't benefit him in any way to tell everybody that and broadcast this $100 million buy, because people theoretically could front run him and give him a worse buy price. And what did he do? He didn't buy shit. He didn't do anything. And the price continued to trend down. And so you have to be very careful about who it is that you're listening to, especially when people are saying things that aren't going to benefit them individually. I always want to take pause and say, there's probably more to this. Do you remember
Absolutely.
that, Corey?
I know exactly who you're talking about. I was actually, when he posted it on Twitter, he actually came into the Pulse Chain Telegram chat. And this was when the Telegram chat was, I mean, it was popping. It was like always 100 people in there at any given time. And I remember I was in the chat and he came in and he started talking about how he was going to do just that. And that you need to pack your bags now because Hex is going to go over $1 before Pulse Chain launch, because from his buys. And like to your point, all I saw Hex do from that point on was dump. So he was just trying to get exit liquidity, people excited to come in so he can get out of his bags. So you got to be careful, so careful. And he came right into the Telegram chat telling people, I mean, how unethical can you be? What a
piece of crap. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And he's a massive well. I mean, I'm sure he will come. I mean, he's going to support the community in the future. He's a big Pulse Chain sacrificer, Pulse X sacrificer. He will probably, be very involved and help pumping the price in the future. But man, if he says anything, whether it's on Twitter, on Telegram, I'm going to do the exact opposite from what he's saying, because he's only got one interest in mind, and that's himself. And he doesn't care who he, uses as exit liquidity, because that's what that was.
Yep, and he's proved it. He's proved
it. Oh my God, that was nasty.
Oh, nasty. Yep. And when for those of you that may be tuning in that maybe you don't understand what Corey means when he says exit liquidity, people will say things like this in order to get people to come in and buy, and they'll use them essentially to swap that person dollars for crypto and leave that person holding the bag while they're taking profits all along. And if you can do this, if you can get people to be buying when you're selling, well, it gives you it gives you more value for your crypto as you're selling. And so that's why they do it. And some of these freaking guys are just liars. So you want to be very careful. Anytime somebody is like, oh, we're going to the moon, I want to take pause and say like, okay, why are they saying this? And is there more behind what they're saying than them just making a statement? Because most of these guys don't have anything else to say other than an unbacked, biased statement that doesn't have any
supports their bag is all it does. They don't care about the longevity of the project or the community. They just want to use you as exit liquidity. And there was another one. I don't know if you saw this, Dane. It was like maybe a week ago. There was another influencer, and he was on YouTube, and they were doing charts. And it was one of the guys was, we're going to the moon. And then the other guy was another OG Hetzican. And they were talking about how Hex could go to 900 grand or something stupid per coin. I mean, that's not even, I'm not exaggerating there. And it was all over Twitter, and people were laughing at it, obviously. But like, why do you speak this narrative only to make people FOMO in? Fear of missing out. We need to get in, which, look, right now is a good time to buy. I am not preaching. I think right now is an amazing time to DCA your way in. I think all of 2023.
No financial advice. There is no financial advice on the show. That's what we are doing. You make your own financial decisions.
Absolutely. I think if you want to buy anything really throughout 2023, whatever coins you like or community you're in, I think 2023 is going to have opportunity written all over it as far as getting involved in buying getting your positions established, whatever community you're in, whatever you want to buy in the crypto space, and maybe even the stock space. If you a little bit down the road, I think the S&P still has another good leg down. But you know, you're gonna have a lot of opportunity in 2023. I just feel like it's gonna be an amazing year for that. And so, like, I'm not saying that, you know, buying in Hex right now is like, no, I'm DCAing. But this whole narrative, we're going to 900 grand that this influencer said. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how can he even say that with a straight face on YouTube?
Oh,
Like, Bitcoin
it's
hasn't even hit
disgusting.
close to that. Bitcoin, you know, when people were saying I was going to 100 grand, that was a narrative to get people to buy in more Bitcoin. And influencers do this all the time, and then they'll dump on their head. And when I first got into crypto, I used to do that, man. I was an idiot like that. The influencer would tell me what coins to buy. Boom, 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 boom. I would go to my computer and I would see a big green candle. I would buy anyways, thinking the green candle will continue to go up. No, I was already late to the party. He was already involved, the influencer. I buy the green candle, and then by the next day, it's a big giant red candle, and I've already lost my money or a portion of my money. That is a good example of exit liquidity.
Yes. Yes.
And influencers love that. Yeah, they have a big audience, so they can go, hey, this is what I'm buying. This is what this, you know, they might give a couple of reasons, and then the whole audience buys it, and then they dump on the community's head. And it's just a horrible way to do anything. And you know, crypto's not regulated, you know, and so you got to be careful. These kind of things are going to happen in crypto. There's so many ways to scam people, and you got to educate yourself.
Yes. And all the more reason to be buying good long-term positions. So this is one of the things that Richard Hart has absolutely stuck the landing on, in my opinion, is, and man, honestly, that's when me and Corey started making money and making a lot of it in crypto, is by finding good projects that we know, like, and trust, buying positions and being patient. Because worst case scenario, if price goes down, all you got to do is wait. You don't look at it. You just wait until it comes back. As long as you're in good projects and not scams, all you got to do is wait. And it's a beautiful way to approach crypto. It keeps it way more peaceful, less stressful. It's a pretty cool thing.
And you couple that in with the market cycles and educating yourself around the market cycles. And that's it. Knowing when to establish your position and knowing when to exit your position. And it doesn't have to be perfect at all. You just need to be in the general area. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. All right. So in fact, back to your point. So I can't tell you, that's one of the most frustrating things to me on crypto Twitter, specifically with the Hex community, is these guys. And I think it's so bad for onboarding. I think it hurts new people because they set these terrible expectations of Hex is going to go to the moon and it's going to do it tomorrow. You should get in now before you're left behind. I can't tell you how many times they said that at 40 cents. They said that at 30 cents, 20, 10. They're saying it now, like, pack your bags so you don't get left behind. Now, look, there will come a point in time where you get left behind if you haven't built any positions. I get it. I understand that's going to happen at some point. But until there's a reason for the market to turn around and there's a reason for Hex to pump, like, it's just not how the market works. Welcome to crypto. There's some truth for you. And so if you're newer, or if you're not for that matter, and you're building positions, be wise about how you're doing that. Be wise about how you're doing that. It makes me incredibly frustrated how these guys will say things like that. It harms new people. And if it harms new people, why would you stick around? It's just, you're just not. A lot of these guys are just not going to stick around because they bought into some narrative. Some idiot was telling them on social media that was completely wrong. It left these people holding their bag, and their expectations are wrong.
That's absolutely the problem, because unlike us, like we fell into the narrative. We bought the top because we thought it was going to the moon, and then we were exit liquidity. But then, like, we educated ourselves. We stuck around, and we're like, okay, let's educate ourselves on this and how this works. And I've done that in every aspect. I did it in real estate. When I came into real estate, I lost a bunch of money. I lost a bunch of money on flips. And I was like, okay, let's take a step back and educate myself, maybe get a mentor, because mentors are great. I got a mentor and, paid for some education. And then it's like, okay, now we can operate business as usual. And it's the same with crypto. But a lot of people are not going to do that. They're going to, you can see it on Twitter. And that's why a lot of people hate Richard Hart and they hate Hex. And it's because they bought the top and then they were, that's where a lot of this SEC's coming from. They already kind of pinpointed who reported everybody to the SEC. And it's a guy who bought at $2 million. He bought at 42 cents. So he's not educating himself, but you have most retail is probably going to do that. They're not going to take a step back and educate themselves and then continue on. So let's not force that narrative down their throat, at the wrong time, so we don't have these type of situations. But, I think it's going to be kind of impossible to do that because it's just how cycles work. But it's most people are not going to stick around once they're exit liquidity. In fact, a lot of people leave crypto in general and then they go, oh, that's a scam. And they never come back because of this one issue right here.
Agreed.
So,
yep. Here's another narrative. I won't say the guy's name because I don't want to roast anybody, but here's a tweet. Here's a tweet that I've seen a bunch of this stuff, the same narrative propagated. The guy says, to buy Hex and keep them liquid to trade them on Pulse Chain is the same as finding the most beautiful woman, but asking her to wait for you until after you've played with her two sisters. Stake your Hex before the T-share runs away from you. Buy Pulse and Pulse X with new money. So let's talk about this one because I see this everywhere. I see this freaking everywhere. Oh, buy Hex and stake it forever. It's all the same narrative. What are your thoughts in how are you treating Hex before the Pulse Chain launch? What are you doing, Corey?
So, I mean, a portion of my bag, staking for a market cycle because I don't know what's going to happen. And I just want to make sure I'm playing both sides of the coin. So I'm going to make sure I have a little bag where it's just staked. And then like, I'll get the fork, I'll get the copy. I got all my T-shirts copied. But then, I mean, man, I'll be buying some Hex and I'll be doing some buy the rumor, sell the news. I know for a fact that for one, V3 will pump Hex, and then when Pulse Chain launches,
well, I want to be careful. We don't know anything for a fact.
I don't know for a fact. Thank you.
We feel strongly that
this is my opinion.
How things will go. Yeah. It could go differently.
Yeah, my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah,
in my opinion, Hex, V3 launches and it's going to pump, and then you can do some buy the rumor, sell the news there, and then you can do it also when Pulse Chain launches. I also think. I know this from the ETH POW and ETH Fair is that when it was forked, the pricing was insane. And I think we might have an opportunity to really grab some cheap P-Hex. It might not last long, especially if you're part of the sacrifice set. Who knows? This is more speculation. But I'm going to be capitalizing on that opportunity to happen. Because I love Hex. Don't get me wrong. I love Hex.
Agreed.
So if I can get a nice, huge bag of P-Hex, I really feel like that's where the market will end up transitioning to. I think that the narrative of parity, reaching price parity, and it's staying price parity for the duration of its cycle or life. My opinion again, I don't buy into that narrative. I'm not buying into that narrative. I do believe P-Hex will be the main Hex, and that's where the market will transition to. Is what I think. It's the one that Richard's going to love. It's one of the community's going to love. And that's why he created Pulse Chain in the beginning. Remember, he created Pulse Chain because Hex was getting basically victimized by the Ethereum blockchain because it's so expensive to unstake Hex on the Ethereum side because the Vitalik changed the S load function and it made it very expensive for Hex stakers. So that's why he created Pulse Chain. So that's where I feel like main Hex is going to live. I could be wrong here too. I could be totally wrong. This is just my opinion. Maybe it is price parity. Maybe they pump together and they stay at the same price. If Hex goes to $1 on Pulse Chain, maybe Hex goes to $1 on Ethereum. But in my world, I just don't see that. I don't see that. And that's why I'm still making some bets on the Ethereum side. Nothing too crazy, but I am making a little bit of, like I said, I did a market cycle stake, but I also know I get my copy on Pulse Chain. So great. So I could be wrong. But I will be doing a little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news, on both. And I won't be holding EHEX through the fork for the most part, like buying, for the copy. I feel like most people are going to front run me if I were to do that. EHEX is going to take a massive dump. I could be totally wrong. This is once again an opinion. I think EHEX is going to take a massive dump right before the fork, and then that's what I think is going to happen.
I agree. I think you'll be able to take advantage of one of two things, but not both. I think that we'll see a nice pump on Hex once we get version 3 of testnet announced for Pulse Chain. Sure. And leading into Pulse Chain launch, I think we'll see a pump on Hex in some respect and in some regard. And I think a lot of these guys are thinking that they'll be able to get the pump and the free copy of Hex over on Pulse Chain. And I'm here to tell you that I do not think, and once again, not financial advice, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I do not think that you'll be able to catch both. I think you'll have to choose what you think is more valuable. Do you think that a Hex pump and taking profits is more valuable and missing out on the copy on the basis that the Ethereum side could dump and dump really hard? Or do you value the copy? If you value the copy, then just buy your Hex and get your copy. If you think that it's going to dump on the Ethereum side, which Corey and I are big proponents of that idea, we've bought into that very heavily, then it makes a lot more sense to consider taking profits and rolling those instead, at least for me, into Pulse Chain and Pulse X.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: if you're like, I don't want to lose my
really quick, let me get to just a couple of these comments while you're adding that. So go ahead.
I was going to say, and if you're like, oh, but I don't want to dump my Ethereum Hex just to go, bring the economic energy with a Pulse Chain, you could buy back into your Ethereum Hex after the buy the rumor, sell the news, and you'll probably have way more Ethereum Hex at that point. And you could transfer some of that economic energy over to Pulse Chain, buy in some P Hex, and telling you, it's just, that would be a better play than holding it. And the same thing happened with Big Payday. I wasn't around for Big Payday, but Randy Hilarski's talked about it.
Same thing.
Where he bought into the narrative to stake through Big Payday versus doing buy the rumor, sell the news Big Payday. And he's even admitted that he would have established way more Hex and got a bigger position had he his first intuition, which told him, hey, just do what you normally do, versus to follow the narrative. But he bought into the narrative. And so he says he regrets that. Right. And it's going to be the exact same play, I'm telling you, and it's going to happen. And so, like, it's okay. I get it, but yeah, so you got to make your own decision, you need to determine your own thesis on this and what you want to do, but come up with a game plan. Do what you're going to, and don't deviate from the game plan. I have literally written down in a journal, and you've seen what I call my Pulse Chain white paper on what I'm going to do before and after launch, all through the process. That way I'm not going to let my emotions get all involved and take control of me. I've sat down and methodically thought about, okay, how am I going to play the game? I'm going to stick to this roadmap 100%. I'm not going to deviate no matter what my emotions tell me to do. And I wrote it down. I spelled it out. And that way I know, because when the time comes, you're going to be like, your heart's going to be doing this. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be nuts.
So,
yeah. We've got Orion. He's got some interesting feedback, and I appreciate a little bit of a dissenting opinion. So we'd love some more. In fact, we've got a few different insights here. He says, or he or she, I'm not sure. It all depends on your time horizon. I think that's fair. What do you mean by that, Orion? Talk a little bit about.
He's probably talking about like 15-year stakes versus market cycle stakes. And you're right.
Even then, that's not accurate. Like, we could talk about that all day long. I'd rather buy 10x the T shares back by selling close to the top and buying back close to the bottom. It'll never be perfect. You're never going to catch the perfect top nor the perfect bottom, which you don't need to. But gosh, like, you could 10x your T shares. That's math. Like, that's
right. And I'd rather have 10x T shares going into the next market cycle every single time.
Yes.
Print me more and more Hex, because a T share only goes up in Hex terms, not monetary value terms. That's the problem.
Agreed.
So
What's up, Simon? Simon's on. Appreciate you jumping on, Simon. It's good to see you these last few shows. Orion says it's not going to dump on ETH until secure bridges are established. It will take time to establish confidence in the bridge. That's a gamble. I couldn't disagree more with this. I completely disagree. And here's my thoughts. I think that as soon as people feel like as soon as they can verify in their wallet that they got their free copy on Pulse Chain, they're going to go over to ETH. They're going to be dumping the shit out of it over on the ETH side.
And that's one group of people. There'll be a group of people who'll be dumping before
they'll be front running it.
Front running it. And that happens every time on all these big giant events that happen in crypto. Now, Orion could be right, man. We could be totally wrong about our thesis.
We could be wrong.
This is an opinion, and you have to you got to make up your own bias or thesis or game plan and what you think will happen and stick to it. This is just what we think, only because it's what's always happened in the history of crypto. And you influencers have been around who are unbiased will tell you the same thing. Like that's why I love Randy Hilarski. I always go back to him because he's an unbiased influencer. And he talks about the big Payday event. And that's what happened in the big Payday event.
Exactly the same. Cool. We've got Doc Lover 100 on. Appreciate you jumping on and giving us your feedback. Interesting discussion. Been a Hex staker from day one. Very cool. Not part of the Hex Millionaires Club. That's all right. I'm open to folks investing in various strategies on ETH and Pulse. No idea what'll be optimum. And that's kind of the fun part, is like playing the game. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's where you've got to go ahead and come up with your own thesis. I think it's really important, like Corey said earlier in the show, to be able to talk to or understand both sides of narratives, what people are saying, what they're doing, and then you make your own. And then at the end of the day, nobody knows. Not even Richard Hart knows exactly how this is going to play out. And so you need to develop a strategy beforehand and then run with that strategy, and you'll find out in time whether your strategy was spot on or not. In fact, I love your input, Doc Lover. Have you done a bunch of 15-year stakes? If so, would you do them again? Are you excited about 15-year stakes at this point? How would you change your staking if you were to go back? Or maybe you wouldn't. We'd love to know about your strategy. That'd be useful to hear your feedback.
And yeah, to touch back that on again, that we don't know. And that's why I am playing both sides. I am still I did the market cycle stake on ETH, because I don't know. Maybe Hex does stick around and do an amazing, gains, because there is a narrative that says that, and it's talked about in the community, if everyone's overstaking on PHEX and the T-share is ratcheting up much quicker, they might be able to get more Hex via T-share payouts because the T-share rate is lower on the EHEX side. And there's a narrative that where if a majority of the money or people are over here, you're going to get a better deal over here. So then it will come back over where people will flux like a pendulum. They'll swing back over here. They'll start staking over here using the Ethereum chain. And then there's a narrative around that too, so that it can go back and forth. And, like I said, we don't know. We can only come up with our own, thesis.
And that being said, I mean, I do not think that Hex is going to die on the Ethereum chain. In no way is it going to die. I think it'll see a huge dip. And just like Corey's saying, I buy into that narrative. To me, that makes a lot of sense that you see this pendulum, the swing back
pendulum narrative.
There's so much economic energy in Hex at this point on the Ethereum chain. I just don't see how it will die and go away. The main difference is potentially gas fees being a little bit different. But if there's better opportunity over there, people are going to be playing the games. Absolutely.
Yep. Ethereum, that's another narrative. That's another Ethereum will always have high gas fees. 15-year stakes, you're going to have this massive gas unstake fee. I don't buy that narrative. I believe 15-year stakes, you'll have a very cheap unstake gas fee. Sharding would have happened by then. Ethereum's going to get their act together eventually, one shape or form or another. And we've already seen that with the ETH 2.0 merge. And I've been diving deep into the roadmap of Ethereum and learning all about how to be a node validator and everything else. And so I'm learning Ethereum is going to have cheap gas fees in the future. In my opinion, this is not a fact, but it's my opinion. It will. So if you guys do believe in 15-year stakes, don't buy into the narrative of that unstake is going to be expensive. Don't buy in that. That's my opinion.
Right. TJ asked an awesome question. This is one that's been really common in the communities. Hey guys, if my Hex staked when Pulse Chain launches, will I still get a copy? Absolutely, TJ. From everything that we've been told from Richard and his team, it'll be a full system stake copy of Ethereum. So whether it's staked or liquid, it doesn't matter. You'll get a copy of that over on Pulse Chain, as far as what we've been told thus far. So, yep. Doc Lover, is it Doe Clover? I don't know. I'm probably
Doe Clover 100.
Yep. No 15-year stakes. That's interesting. That's interesting feedback. Yeah, I'm with you. That's good. They also say, let's see, crypto may change again in say 5 years, and there will be something else that I may diversify into. If Hex price is okay, then I'll restake. If not, then move funds into something else when stake ends. I love this point, and that brings me to the next thing that I want to talk about before we jump off. This will probably be a good place to finish. But man, like, so many of these guys are saying that, oh, like Hex to the moon, it's going to be, it'll be worth so much amidst Pulse Chain and Pulse X. And they're saying, oh, where do you think everyone's going to roll their gains from Pulse Chain and Pulse X from? They're going to roll it over to Hex for passive income. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but I think that the yield on Pulse X will be better than Hex. And I think that if you're a node validator on Pulse Chain, it might be better than Hex.
Yep.
Not only that, but narratives are everything in crypto. In fact, they're really important in any asset class that you may be involved in. And in my opinion, once again, nothing here is financial advice. It's our opinions. But man, like Pulse Chain and Pulse X are the two new shiny toys. They're things that crypto communities as a whole understand. Crypto communities understand layer 1 blockchains. They understand decentralized exchanges. I don't see a huge reason for Pulse Chain and Pulse X to be gate kept like Hex has been. Now maybe they are, who knows? We'll have to see. But man, like, and they're new. They're sexy. You could get in on or very near the ground floor of Pulse Chain and Pulse X. Plus, Hex has already done a 10,000x from its all-time low to its all-time high. Now it's pulled back significantly, and I think Hex still has a lot of juice left in the tank.
Yeah.
But I will be shocked. In fact, I would be willing to make a very large wager that Pulse Chain and Pulse X outperform Hex in this next market cycle. I just don't see how it doesn't. 100%. And so you have all these guys are like, oh, pack your bags. Well, great. You go pack your bags. That'll be great. But I can tell you that I'm way interested in considering taking profit from Hex on the ETH chain to be able to build my Pulse X and Pulse Chain positions. Once again, not financial advice. Maybe I'm wrong and I eat these words in a few years. If that's the case, I will gladly eat them. It is.
I'm 100% with you on this.
Yes,
100%, man. And people can, like you just said, people understand layer 1s and dexes. And, I think actually Pulse Chain and Pulse X will be the reason why Hex will stop being gate kept. This is what I think. The light will shine on Pulse Chain and Pulse X. It's going to be amazing. I do believe it could be I'm super bullish to the point where I think it could be an Ethereum competitor. I really do. I think it could be an amazing layer 1. And it will shine the light on Hex from being gate kept. It will bring that out to the light. So Hex can have some more gas in the tank, if you will, but it will not have nothing even close to what Pulse Chain and Pulse X has. Those will have its 10,000x moments. Those or Hex, people think Hex could do another 10,000x. Maybe, but it's going to take many market cycles. I mean, Hex has a good 100x from its bottom that we're in right now. We've hit 0.018. I can see Hex doing $1.80 on the next market top. There's no reason at all why I don't see that, and that's fine. But I can see a lot more gains in the Pulse Chain and Pulse X. So absolutely. I don't see people rolling out gains as we're going up during the bull run into Hex. That makes no sense to me, because then they're missing out on more potential gains. And smart investors know this. Smart money knows this. And so they're going to keep their money in the asset that treats their money best.
Agreed. Yeah. So go ahead and post in the comments. Do you guys think we're wrong? Or do you think we're right? Like, love your feedback. It's interesting to have varying opinions. We've got Hex Ray Vision. What's up, Hex Ray? We're on Hex Ray Show later today. This will be a lot of fun. Simon asks, when will it reach parity between the two chains? So there's no guarantees that it does. And when people say parity, they often mean like the two being the same price, right? And once again, nobody knows. So we're totally speculating here. In my opinion, I don't think that they will be the same price. I'm with Corey. I think that the Hex price on Pulse Chain, I think it will outperform that on the Ethereum side. I think we'll see a big dump on the Ethereum side. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see money from the sacrifice address coming in and providing liquidity and bonding Hex on the two chains together, which doesn't mean that they equal the same price. But if they're bonded together with thick liquidity, that means that they're more likely to move in price together. And so on the Ethereum side, maybe Hex is at a penny, and maybe on the Pulse Chain side, maybe it's at 10 cents. I don't know. I'm just pulling out numbers. But then they could move percentages similarly over time. That's kind of like Hart's law. That's what that says. So that's my opinion. Nobody knows. It'll be a fascinating thing to watch. But once again, you've got to be careful about betting on parity. And so make your own financial decisions. I think it's really important. We've got, let's see. Oh, it's pronounced Doc Lover. Thank you for correcting me. Perfect. So we got Doc Lover again. I say good luck to those who only do 15-year stakes. Same to those with long staking ladders, and also those who stake for 1 year. We all have different circumstance and attitude to risk. Absolutely.
Love
it just
that.
points to the importance of nailing down your own strategy and acting however you see fit. Spot on.
Love that.
Jeremy says, oh, yeah, absolutely. Before you guys jump off, maybe do a show about security and a bit about your keys, not your crypto show, and importance of a hardware wallet, separate computer, and such for crypto. Just an idea. Absolutely, Jeremy. We can do that. That'd be fun. Hex Ray, once again, we're going to be on Hex Ray Show later today. He's gonna squeeze every drop out of us later today. So come join us there. That'll be a lot of fun. Doc Lover says, dump of Hex may occur due to those who sacrifice more money than they should have. They are angry and may have lost faith. Hopefully price action may change their views. Agree 100%. There's a lot of pissed off people out there about their sacrifice and the time frame of things. There are going to be dumpers. It'll be interesting to see if they outpace the buyers or not. That'll be fascinating. And then last comment, parity over short term may not be viable, but over the long term may be more likely. I agree with that. I could see that happening. It'll be interesting to see.
Yep. So what you got to remember,
cool, guys.
What's the Hart's law? This is one more point we hop off. Hart's law is true. I believe in it. But the one thing that does outpace Hart's law is economic energy. People buying one thing over the other all the time. So that will outpace Hart's law, but Hart's law will kick in too. So yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. If you guys like content like this, make sure you like the video, you subscribe. We do local meetups too. We'd love to meet you in person. Corey's in Arizona. I'm in Utah. Feel free to comment on the video if you'd like to come to one of our local meetups. If you'd like to potentially look at plugging into our group, we'd love to have you along. If you need help with real estate, with crypto, developing strategy, we help all of our guys do that every single day. We'd love to help you if you think that would be of value to you. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.